The main event mama's bringing the heat. Talking life, love. And the wrestling beat. Step in the ring with the real ones, me. Mic in hand. Yeah, we on repeat. Yeah. Tag team champs of the everyday grind. Body slammed out, leave them behind. From the school runs to the grocery lines. Still got time to drop these rhymes. Late night chats over spilled tea. Wrestling moves in reality. Balance it all like it's destiny. Mama life is the legacy. Main event mamas. We run this show from the ropes to the roads. Watch it flow. Real talk, real love, real highs, real lows. Main event mamas. Let the good vibes flow. Got a suplex for the drama, pin for the stress, flipping scripts. Yeah, we do it the best. Relationships, goals, what's next on the list? Life's a match, and we never miss.
Well, hello.
That was such an abrupt. I was jamming.
Hello. I'm Kiara.
And I'm Tanesha. And you're now entering the sister chat. Welcome to Main Event Mamas. Hey.
Woo-hoo. And we're back this week on our parenting adulting-ish. Like we decided to bring you back to our typical fare and talk about some things. So first, let's talk about how your week's going. How's that going?
I mean,
like my week.
I mean, it's close. I think yours takes the cigar, but it's been close. It's been close, especially today. I don't know. I was fighting for my life. I was just out here.
Yeah, I just had the realization 2 seconds ago that neither one of my kids. But I don't recall anyone telling me, except the girl child, that they were staying after school. So yeah, that's the kind of week I'm clearly having. And speaking of which, it'd be a devastating moment to hurt the boy child, considering his birthday's tomorrow. So someone's gonna be it. It's a big birthday. It's gonna be 18. One teardrop dramatically falls from my right eye. Right. Slowly. I need to add that.
Slow. Sorry.
There we go. Exactly like that. I can't believe I have an 18-year-old. Someone needs to throw some water on me. I don't know when that happens, but it's a big birthday, right? Like, I'm excited, but I'm nervous because, you remember when you were 18 and you thought you were grown? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I definitely thought I was grown. I thought I could do whatever because you know why? That's a society. They make you, when you turn 18, they're like, you're an adult. And then you're like, yeah, I'm an adult. And then you'd be like, but you're not an adult because you still living at home and the only bill you paying is your phone bill. It's not. No?
Phone bill?
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I definitely am not going to say like that might be accurate. Deeply.
I mean, I feel like that was my only
that was probably all I'm saying. Yeah, that was probably the only I was paying now that I'm thinking about it. I was sitting here really trying to like emphasize this, and I was like, I don't know what other bills I might have been paying at this time, but I'm gonna put money on you being right there.
I mean, all I know is all I want.
So definitely, like, it's a big birthday. So I'm not really, like you said, like phone bills were all I had to worry about. I'm pretty sure that's where he is too. I mean, if I had to say, it's not like I wasn't driving. So he's not driving yet. Because that would be a bill he'd have to figure out. I'm not gonna lie, that would not be any problem.
I mean, I knew I wanted to get out the house. I wanted as quickly as I could leave. I wanted to leave. But that's for other reasons. And I did want to drive because why I want to take the bus?
I took the bus, but I grew up on the bus.
I know. I grew up on the bus too and the train. I mean, I'm from New York, so everything. But it was still like, if I can go pick up my peoples and we ride around, why not? That's how I felt.
Wow, that was even in my...
Yeah, that also shows we were on two different trajectories, and hence why Dad did not want you to come to NYU.
I mean, they're gonna drive eventually, right? Like,
yeah,
I still not want to get in the car and go for. Okay, I see what you're saying, but this kid is not like that. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. He's you.
Your child is the one we're going to be worried about, and so we were like, no driving for you, just because. Like, I don't know what we're going to do with that one, but there will be no driving in immediate futures. Absolutely not. I don't know. We're still working through that, but obviously this new chapter is a little scary, right? Like, I got to get him. We talked about college, and now he has to get a real job instead of like, you know, skedaddling around the house, doing stuff for us around the house. And so I'm like, geez, but makes you a little emotional, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a baby 18 years ago, and he's not.
I was about to say you were pregnant 18 years ago. Had a baby 18 years ago. That's a lot. I mean, I was pregnant 18 years ago too, but he ain't 18 yet, so just okay.
Unlike you, I'm not going to blubber myself into it.
Not you saying not like me blubber. You know what? I'm very extra emotional and sensitive to these things. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it makes us different.
Yeah.
You know,
but I'm not going to do that. Not at least yet. I have other things to be blubbering about. I got time.
I know, but you know, be the blubber will be when he goes away to college, when he graduates. That is where you are going to do the blah, 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 blah.
Have time. I have time to consider that.
You have time. Yes, you do. But it's not as much. Yours graduation's earlier than mine.
Shut up. You're going to make me cry now.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. I'll take it back.
Anyway, in that case, let's move on. Okay, before we get started, because, you know, I just started talking today and forgot to remind you that this is your moment to hit that subscribe button. You might notice that we look a little different today. We're on a different streaming platform. We're trying out a new one. We'll let you know how that goes. If we're back on the other one next week, you know what happens. You might have caught our live recently on Sunday, where we went over the latest Saturday night main event on TikTok, on X, and on YouTube. That's right. But it's a reminder that, you know, we don't often tell y'all sometimes. I mean, that time we did. I did put a note out on social a little bit before, like a couple hours before. But sometimes we just hop online because it's quicker to just give you a live feature than to sit here and try to work out our schedules, which mine are a little freer these days. But still, it's a little harder to try to work through our schedules to make it happen. So you got to be subscribed so you can get the bell notice when we go live, because it was fun. We had the most lively conversation about all things wrestling with our crew on YouTube, then our fam who stopped by on Tickety Talks to say hey. Shout out to the girl who gave us 10 diamonds. Shout out to you, sis.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. So yeah, that's your reminder to hit subscribe on all our channels so you can find out what's going on. And then you might notice we have a QR code hanging out on the screen today. That is for our Patreon, in which you can join as a free member. But let me tell you, there are multiple benefits for our Patreon. I like to put our never before seen clips on there. I have this one clip I am holding on to that is hysterical, that I am planning to upload. And the best part is our Patreon family, paid or not, because I let everybody have access to the clip, man. Y'all get the privilege of seeing these crazy behind the scenes situations. Like what happens when we try to start and we can't seem to start at the same time. Or when my sister wants to thank the Lord above that we were not swallowed. I mean, how else would you hear these crazy clips of what happens behind the scenes with all of us? It wasn't even just two, it was all of us.
Or you would never know if there's a naked man in the back or not, ever.
There's that. I don't know who that benefits. I mean, anyway.
I don't know, but I mean, that's a back scene. That was a back of this, whatever. You know, when we start. Yep. Anyway. So that's normally it's me causing chaos.
That's right.
There's your thing.
That's good. And so that's why you gotta subscribe. So you go ahead and scan that beautiful QR code on our Patreon to become a member of our elites. That's what we're calling our Patreon family. Or you could join our squad, our Facebook squad. I like to send you guys notes throughout the week and share little tidbits and give you access to other things. You never know. I'm telling you. By the way, a lot of our predictions our blogs are now on Patreon. So you just want to get a written rundown of who was right and who was wrong on the latest event. It's always there with all the sass. It's a very fun read every time. And if you want to leave us a comment there, you can. We go back and forth with Miss Candace all day, every day. And even our new family.
Oh, yeah. Then we got a new one, right?
A new fan. Yes, we do. We have a new elite.
Ooh.
Or you can join our Facebook squad, which again, open to everybody. Leave us messages, get rundowns on our videos, and sometimes even get a live center just for you. It just depends on how many channels we have available that week. Okay, with that, let's talk about this whole situation here. We're going to have a real good conversation today about something that has been troubling my spirit.
Oh. Okay. And
so, excuse me while I scroll up. So, I realized this. I was thinking about this the other day, is that I've noticed as I've gotten older, my friend groups have kind of diminished a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's hard to make new friends as you get older because you're not, stationary with your people. Or if you're like me, you work remotely or you move to a new city or whatever may happen. But it naturally starts to slow down on, the friendships level. And then I just got to thinking, how many Black women do I know who have friend groups? And I thought it was interesting because remember, I went to a women's college, right? A lot of them I'm still cool with to this day. But I noticed, like, we didn't have the same, some of the other people who were in our age group. And it's a different dynamic because I went to a women's college, right? So that's a little different. So we went through, some different kind of experiences together in the sense of like sisterhood and rah-rah and learning about empowerment and learning about our gifts separately. But I also happened to notice, like when I was talking to other people who went to different colleges of other heritages, ethnicities, that their friend groups seem to be like forever. They were like, I have friends for 30 years, 40 years. I'm like, do I have a friend from like 40 years, 30 years ago, 20 years ago? Sorta, probably about 20, I give it. We don't live near each other. We're about like states away. But that's still my homie. But like, I noticed there's a difference in how often friendships develop. And even when you try to make new friends, I find that for me in particular, trying to make friends who happen to be Black women is harder for me. And it got to me thinking, like, what is it? What could be a contributing factor to this? Why is it hard? Is it the thought that there is some kind of competition? But then I got to thinking, not just me, like other people I knew, right? Because I was like, it could be a Kiara thing. Could be. I don't want to go out there and act like I'm perfection because, I can be special sometimes. I get it. But even my family members, like most of them don't have friends from like way back. I didn't see it was like no new friends. I was like, that's so weird, right? Because there's other people you run into. They've been hanging out for 30 years. Yeah. Like, think the sisterhood of the traveling pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, think that kind of stuff. And so I was like, what is it? What is it that when you often outgrow new friends, it becomes even difficult to build another set of friends? Especially when it feels like, for me as a Black woman, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, it felt like it's even harder to make more friends. And I am a very friendly person. Okay. Very. Strangers come up to me in stores. Not Black women, though. Older Black women, now we have some kind of unspoken language. I don't know. But people my age, no. And so it really like started to trouble me of like, what is it about our friendships that often causes them to fail? Now, there are some that succeed. So I'm not saying this is a end all be all, but I'm curious, like, what are some of the pressures that can cause maybe friendships among Black women to be difficult? And then it got me thinking again more about like why. So I wanted to like unpack that a little bit. I just want to have a discussion about the challenges facing Black women who are trying to cultivate friendships, long-term friendships even. And you notice even the way we're depicted in media, but we'll get to that later. So one of my questions, is it the pressure of like being a strong Black woman that makes vulnerability and seeking help feel impossible? Could that be one of the things that can contribute to not really seeking out new friends or friends in general because you're just like, I'm good and I don't need the support? Or you don't want anyone in your business?
I mean, I think that could be a possibility. I know for me that I don't think that's my issue, but I think it can be from, excuse me, like even like watching certain people's clips or like, you know, them like trying to get their friend groups, or if we're looking at even, I think friends are just different too. And I'm not sure if it is because of us growing up that your time for nonsense is different. Like sometimes you're not, I think everyone grows apart and people don't know how to
come back together, maybe?
Come back together. Yeah. Or, you know, life happens, right? So like I feel like my circle of friends that I had in high school and college, you know if I call at least two of them for sure. If I call them and like, hey, yo, I really need da 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 da, they will do something. But when it comes to hanging out, I think the problem is we don't hang out with each other. Does it make sense what I'm saying? I
feel like I just as you get older, I think that's normal though, right? Like I would argue, like for instance, for me, see again, my situation is a little different because when I had kids in my early 20s, right? So most of my friends is out there, YouTube, right? But most of my friends are out there in their streets living their best life, and nobody else is having children.
Absolutely, everybody, like, right? And now that we are out here, like, all right, well, we ready. They're like, I had kids already, or I'm still. You're like, oh, it's not fun now that you got.
Yeah, kids. Now they got kids who are 5, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Says my kid is 12. Like I got other problems, but that doesn't mean you cut them off. But I often wonder, like, is it that pressure though? Because for me, I feel like I've seen that. I've kind of seen it in my like life and my world. That you do have to be the strong person. So it is often very difficult to show that, like, yeah, I'm okay. It took me a long time to be able to like show like that kind of level of crack, I think. And when I say crack, I mean like a fracture in the facade.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean crack is whack. I mean like sure in the
no. I didn't think you meant that. It was just, I guess I never heard it from that perspective. So that's why I was like, wait, hold on. Because guys, we talk every day. So it's not like, we've never had these type of conversations. So with her saying crack, I was like, crack and where? What do you, who did that? Okay. So yes, in the facade that you have to keep, the persona that you put out.
That's right. And so I will say that maybe that is one of the things, because even when I see people at the gym or I see people like, we don't say hi, you know what I mean? Like, and why is that? What is that? That keeps you from like making even people, I don't even know what the word is right now. Like, I don't want to say peers, but like, yes, acquaintances, like people that you see all the time. There is a guy I see at the gym all the time. We never spoke, but with men, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like with women, you need to be like a little bit more intentional of like, hey, da 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 da. This is my name. What's your name? Whereas dudes are like, and that's it. You don't really have to hold a conversation, tell your life story. Like you just roll through it. And a part of that is growing up with guys, right? But I would also say that I just think it's hard and I don't know why. And then another thing that came to mind was this competition and comparison factor, right? So like when you look at another woman and say you are appreciating like her body or her shoes or her hair or her nails, it can immediately sometimes be taken as, why are you looking at me? Instead of like, I really like this or whatever. And for me, I tell you, I'm like, girl, you was doing it with that hair, with the shoes. I will tell you. Because I'd be like, if you catch me staring, I will tell you exactly what I'm looking because I want you to be proud because you caught my attention. And this is not an easy thing to do when we are out and about. But it does, but again, it brings to mind that kind of question, like, there does often seem to be like this competition. It's like something perpetuates this sense of like, there's not enough for all of us. And so there is this weird sense of competition. And I don't think it's necessarily only between Black women, but I'm only talking about that experience right now. I just want to be clear that y'all are like, this happens with other people. Yes, I know. But I'm talking about my reality as a Black woman and wondering how all of this is kind of manufactured, I feel like. Because I feel like when I have met women in the workplace, it was easier to like sometimes make acquaintances and sometimes not. If that makes sense. Like, I know definitely my first impressions of some people were like, ooh. Like, that lady does not like me. And then later I would find out, oh no, I thought you were great. I just didn't say it. And you're like, well, you should have said something. I didn't know you wanted me to say anything to you.
Yeah.
At all. But I think, why? That just begs the question to me. What is that about? What is this sense of like competition or competitiveness? Could that be a contributing factor to why it may be difficult to have some of these friendships? Because you see some of those same tropes perpetuated in the media when you think about the Cardi B and the Nicki Minaj situation. I'm not getting into all of that, but not just that. When you think about things that have happened throughout time, multiple people, it's like, if you are beautiful and Black, we're going to pit you against someone else who is also beautiful and Black. Now, again, I know this happens with other people, as I said, but I'm only talking about Black women at this time. Because I feel like for us, it's especially important to form this kind of sisterhood and this sense of camaraderie and support because of all the things that, we face that may be slightly different than other people. But in our community, it seems to just be difficult. Or is it just my perspective?
I mean, no, it's not your perspective. I mean, it's definitely has been something our community has been plagued with in essence. Because what ends up happening is, if it's not us putting up against each other, it's someone else putting us up against another. So someone else is putting us against each other in a way of proving ourselves and our self-worth to be sometimes to be in somebody's circle, or to be able to feel safe enough that I can work along with you, know that we're equals, and it's not about a power struggle, right? So I can just talk about my example at work, right? There was a handful of Black females at my job. Majority of them white and Hispanic. But the ones that were Black, we try to latch on to each other. But also there still was one who would be like, like, there was one person, I thought she was stuck up. So it was like, I can't really talk to you. Then once we finally started talking, and it took the pandemic for that to actually happen, then it was like, oh, you actually cool. They look like, oh, you're actually cool. Now, granted, are we friends to this day outside of work? No. And that's sometimes I feel like that's the other issue. People just, we're work friends and that's it. See you later. Peace out. Meanwhile, while you're at work, you have sometimes the most valuable relationships. But then you just want to keep it at work, when sometimes some of those relationships should start venturing outside of work and actually just seeing, because clearly you can't just have this good partnership and good friendship at work, but it's not going to work outside of work. Like sometimes that's where people find friends, is places you wouldn't think of. Yeah, at work, especially as we get older, right? So you were saying as we get older, most of our friends are coming from work if it wasn't from school. And if we're not at school anymore, like none of us are going out here in these streets randomly talking to somebody, hey, how you doing? What's your oh wow, okay. And now I'm gonna exchange my number. No, because now that's like, why am I changing my number?
Right. But see, it's also the cultural, like, you don't do that anymore. Like, no. You can get my Instagram before you can get my number. Right.
But that's the other thing. You can't get my Instagram before I'll get yours. You can't get mine. Hence why now I have a public page. So now I don't care if you get mine or not. But I mean, I think it's definitely competitive, especially if it was competitive in school. Because remember, even too, like, right, you went to an all-girls school. But let's just think about if we, like the ones who go to Harvard or go to Yale or go to all these other type of schools, yes, they have Black people there, but it's not like,
not a whole bunch of them, right?
It's not a whole bunch of them. So now y'all are already competing with each other in school, because now I have to show that I'm the smartest one, even though technically we both are smart because we both got here,
right?
And not trying to, blend the things that we learn together. So I'm going to say this competition for sure. Why there's a competition? It could be also families, right? So there's some cultures that be like, no, you have to be the smartest in the room, and that person ain't this and this, that, and talk about people. So now you have that already in your notion that I'm already smarter. You don't know nothing, da 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 da. And now it trickles down to everything else, right? Mm-hmm. And even sometimes the shows that we watch, they portray certain people against the other person, the females against the other females, right? Like we can even talk about Scandal. Me and you both watch Scandal. So Kerry Washington's character, when she went up against Viola Davis, that scene is iconic, but also it was like, why y'all both going at each other right now? Like, why y'all both
that's a good one.
Right? Because they both were beating their chests. It was like, I see what I could do.
Black women, yes. Like who reigns supreme, right? That's how it was kind of pitted against each other. Who's going to reign supreme? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't feel like that happens a lot with necessarily other people. No. I noticed it perpetuates a lot with our demographic, right? Like I'm like, why? Because let's take it back to that Kerry Washington and Viola Davis and those awesome shows, because they that used to be my Thursday thing.
Okay. That was our Thursday thing. Mm-hmm. Well, I could never get away with murder. I could never get into that show. But yes, I get it.
Anyway, that's another story. It's a whole thing. I don't know why, but I do remember I was so excited for those characters to interact. Mm-hmm. To me, it brushed me the wrong way during their interaction initially, because I was like, why is
so much friction?
Right. What's the competition? You guys are in two different worlds, ultimately. Like, Kerry Washington is more of a fixer for government type, political type things. So you're around each other in the same hemisphere, but not necessarily in the same exact space, right? Like, mm-hmm. I'm like, you're a lawyer. Like, you're teaching at law school. Like, this is not, you deal with more criminal activities rather than like, political implication type things. So it was weird, but that actually leads us to our next conversation, right? So this rivalry type thing we've seen multiple times, like you said, certainly in art, in the sense of just, what we just talked about, Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder, and often the comparison to those ratings. But we were talking about it, even recently in our love for wrestling and the big three, right? So when we were talking about Jade and Bianca Belair and Naomi, and why sometimes it felt hard, like it was hard to see them as a trio, and everyone was kind of waiting for them to turn on each other. And it was just kind of like, why can't we just be three powerful sisters? Mm-hmm. Versus why is it one has to turn on the other? I'm wondering kind of what that looked like. So does that reflect real life? Again, is this reflecting real life, or is this really just a stereotype that's continuing to be perpetuated Because what I would argue is that it's a little bit like of both, right? Because what we just talked about, it's hard to develop a sisterhood.
A true sisterhood.
Right? Mm-hmm. Based on, like you said, different competing backgrounds, different experiences. Sometimes if you are in the certain areas, you're the only Black person in the room. So you're naturally going to feel like you're in competition with anyone else they bring in. Younger, smarter, whatever. You're naturally going to feel that way because you're trying to protect your spot. But it also feels like that's a construct. Like it was created because instead of making room for more people, they're saying there's only this spot and you two have to fight it out or whatever for it. Which again, I'm guessing what I'm saying is like, again, in this wrestling business, when you're looking at it, why can it not be the same way it is for other people where there's, multiple people up here? You have Roman and you have CM Punk and you have Seth Rollins and you have Brock Lesnar and you have all these different people. But it's like, you're not fighting for that one space the same way, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like they can say all of your names and it be okay. Why can't we do the same thing with women?
Well, this is the one thing I can also say too.
Bless you. Excuse me. Take your allergies.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, we have it. I guess they don't want me to say what I'm about to say. The damn universe. What's happening here? We have not seen 2 Black women hold the WWE Women's Championship. And what's the other one called? I forgot what the other one's called. Is that the Undisputed Women's Championship?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know the different names of
Okay, so even when they had SmackDown and Raw.
Thank you.
Women's Championship.
The red belt, one belt, Raw, SmackDown titles. I always say that. Because I think one's the world and one's the I'll tell you in a minute. Go ahead.
But we also have not seen 2 hold it at the same time. We've teased it, but it never happened. Meanwhile, the Beckys and the Charlottes can have them. The Nicoles. Who's Nicole? I don't even know.
You talking about Nikki Bella? Who's Nicole?
I know. That's why I said, where did Nicole come from? I guess I was thinking about Nicole.
I'm sorry, Nikki. I didn't know we knew you in real life. I didn't know
we knew you in real life either. And I really wasn't even talking about you because at that time it was a Divas Championship. So no one.
I'm trying to understand what's happening. I'm
just talking about when the title split. When the title split, we did not have 2 Black women hold them, especially when we had 2. Apollo.
Hold that thought while I close my door. Again. I'll say it.
I don't know where.
All right, so I got the answer. It's the Women's Championship and the Women's World Championship. See, this is the thing that a little bit annoys me about these, because I have the same problem when I think about the other 2 titles. I'm like, is it the undisputed other world title and then heavyweight world title?
But even too, if we think about the NXT, there's never been, and we have enough Black women wrestlers, there's never been when all 3 of them has held the top of the king championships, but queen championships, right? No one's have all held it together. Now, have we had tag teams? Yeah, have we had tag teams? And no, because even if we had tag team, I think it was only one time. Was it Mercedes, or formerly known as Sasha? Did she have the tag team and she was fighting for the belt? Did she actually get the belt? I don't remember.
Wasn't she Sasha 2 belts?
She was Sasha 2 belts. Oh, that's probably what started the whole collection. Anyway, so she was. But I'm still saying. But then even on the other side, we didn't have another person. And it's also to bring back the.
I was correct.
Yes. Okay. And also to bring back what you were saying about Bianca Jade and Naomi. I'm about to call her Trinity. Girl, I know we don't know each other like yet, but hopefully we will. Boop. But you're right. Everyone was waiting. It was like a toss up. You had us like, oh yes, we got 3 strong, Black women together. Yeah. But then we were also secretly like, so when the shoe gonna drop?
Yes. Because we've never been taught. But that's the thing. That's what I think it takes us back. We've never seen a solidarity like that at the top, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even know if we had, I'm pretty sure we have with African American men, like even before Nation of Domination, I'm sure there was like,
yeah,
essentially opportunities. I am not a wrestling historian, so don't even quote me at all.
But
you're right. I don't feel like that was the case in mainstream, at least from what I remember. I don't feel like that was the case. And even like if we take it back, okay, even when we'll say formerly known as Sasha, right, and Bianca were fighting for the championship, that was the first time there was 2 women,
2 Black
fighting
women
for the championship in the main event. Right.
WrestleMania. Mm-hmm.
So,
and that was such a big moment for them that they knew that was happening, which also shows that we are being taught, and just to touch on a part of what we're being taught, because I even sat here and thought about it even with my daughter, right? As growing up, in essence, girls are jealous. Other Black girls are jealous of the other Black girl if her hair is prettier, or if it's straighter, or if it's something like we're always taught an envious bone in our body of another Black female versus celebration, right? Even if we're not taught, like we have to break it ourselves and be like, oh no. But even sometimes too, they being mean to you because they jealous, because they don't got what you got. And I've caught myself saying that too, and I have to think about it. Like we are doing these generations passed down, right? Of teaching each other that we're going to be jealous of each other, that we're not going to be able to celebrate each other, that we're not going to everybody's not created equal. You're not like, she's more like, I'm beautiful and you're not, because my hair is this way, or your hair is that way, or my skin is a little bit lighter, because even colorism comes in play into that too, right? So colorism comes in play where the people are taught, like my skin, I have a better chance of getting into certain doors that my beautiful sister wouldn't be able to get into those doors. So she has to fight a little bit harder to be able to get into those doors versus maybe I won't. And that's something that we've learned, and that keeps getting passed down and down. And some people are trying to change it and some people are not. Some people are like, it's really not that deep. And it's like, of course it's not that deep because you don't experience it, or you don't know people who do experience it. But that also plays a part. I feel like that plays a part in the workplace. That plays a part in friendships. I feel like, because to have a true sisterhood is to accept.
Yes.
And elevate each other.
That's right.
Because I'm about to say, not just accept, like I can accept you for who you are, but I should also feel like, hey, we need to get on this wavelength of up here. So come with me. We're going to do it together. And that's the other issue. People want to either keep you down here.
Right.
Or they don't want to, or if they start seeing you elevate a little bit and they're down here and they can't figure it out, now they're like, oh, you're leaving behind. Oh, you think you better than me. Oh, and that's where all that starts coming in, because it's just something that's taught and that nobody wants to break, or no one, they talk about they want to break, but then they don't break and they're quick to do it. You know what I'm saying? And even in the storylines that we're watching, on TV, it's just continue putting that perception out that we can never be on the equal playing field.
Right.
So some of it's reality, but it's also the constant pretty much being thrown back at us that this is what it is.
Right. Because I'm trying to think, I'm like, definitely growing up. Well, my mom grew up with all sisters. So there was that sense of competition, but it was like sibling rivalry, right? But I remember some of those same lessons growing up. Like, I was the only one in my mom's house who was a girl, but with dad, I was not. I was directly in the middle, right? Mm-hmm. So that was a weird shift too, and learning like how to navigate that differently, how to understand how to have sisters and not really be competitors. And I do think that is a learned behavior, and maybe a behavior that I would say is passed down foundationally, generationally, that may have like come from further back, right? Like when you talk about colorism, when you talk about a lot of that, like for survival, the survival of the fittest, and at the time where being Black was considered the worst thing you could be, then you did what you had to do to get the best life that you could, right? And if that meant bumping somebody out the way or trying to be higher than somebody else, you're going to do that, right? Because again, it takes you back to kind of that survivalist mentality. So I'm wondering if maybe, like, I know this is not something we're going to solve in a day, but I definitely think it's worth talking about because it just made me ponder this. I was like, how do we shift that? How do we shift this perception that we have to be competitors with people who we need to be building camaraderie and friendship and sisterhood, especially in a world like this where being different is not always celebrated. And being a minority is not something that gets you ahead or gets you any, if anything, it can hurt you a lot more in different areas in which you find yourself. And then like what I would argue is that even in a lot of the jobs that I've had, I've been the only Black person, certainly the only Black women in the room, right? So how do we go about changing that? One of the things that I did learn from someone who I worked with and I kind of helped bring into a company I worked with. I mean, I was the only Black person on that team at the time until she came, and she became my bestie immediately. Like, I don't know what it was between us. There was never a sense of competition, never anything. And that was so refreshing to me because it was just like, that's my girl. And it never felt like we had to compete about anything. And I found that there was power in having somebody who got you. Like, you saw things before I saw it, or we saw it together, or I can help you get through some things and you can help me get through some things. But I definitely feel like at times we were pitted against each other by the management team or by the people ahead of us because they wanted to see who would be better. But again, what made them think that was okay? Knowing that we had two different skill sets, we were not equal footing, right? I was much more senior than her at the time. But again, it got me thinking, like, how do we cultivate this, like, reality where that starts to decline a little bit, that we really start to build these bonds culturally between people in our same demographic, because A, we're going to need it. And B, because I think it helps fortify, like, our sense of community, I feel like was stripped away. If we really want to get down to the nitty gritty.
Oh, for sure. And it keeps getting trying to get stripped away.
Right. And I feel like the truth is, the more we can tear you apart, the better we are, because ultimately it means that you can't pull yourself together and therefore become a force. Right. So the only way to dismantle, something that is initially very strong together is to break it down before it even starts. Right. So I think if I think about the beginnings of stuff like this, that had to be where it kind of came from ultimately. Right. If we can scatter this, if we can make these cultural bonds impossible to find, then you can't build them. And then we're going to pit you against each other. So like on a foundational level. And I think this is why a lot of things have happened in the world that they are now. And a lot of people do feel alone because who understands what you're going through? Why are you both competing for the same man? You know what I mean? Like things that just happen so much. And again, I know this doesn't just happen with Black women, but again, it does primarily, if you were to listen to the media, primarily happens in our communities. We be fighting for these deadbeats out here. And I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't. But that's a thing that is perpetuated throughout that. So to think about solving it, or at least starting to address it, how could we do that? Like, I know it's a big ask, but like, what are some steps that we could take to try to reinforce that? And I will say, like, perpetuating that even with my daughter, like, you have friends who happen to be like you. Like, I am always after her about making friends who are Black, because she can make friends with anyone, but she seems to shy away from it. And I think that's from a media perspective, because there's no other reason for that to have been. Like, she's grown up in mixed schools her entire life. So I'm like, why would that be the thing you ran away from? I don't get it. I'm confused. I was like,
I mean, it definitely has to be the media, for sure. I just thought about something while you were talking. Our baby brother. Remember what our baby brother told us? He was never going to date a Black woman because of us.
Word? I don't remember this conversation. Tell me why you said that.
He said that because of, I guess, us, how we were loud, obnoxious.
Not everybody.
I know, and that's how. So, I mean, granted, he has broadened his horizon. He's definitely dated a Black woman and all these different things, and he said it was a great experience. So
he said, must repeat.
Must repeat. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I'm saying that it's also the perception, like the media. We didn't have media back then, but it was us. He had his perception of his sisters who, you know, it was always a good time with us.
Back then, there was still TV.
There was still TV, but it wasn't like how it is now.
Well, you mean the reality craziness?
Right. It's not how it is now. Because even back then, we had Real World. We had listen, Real World that was joint. We all wanted to be on Real World, but
that was not my story.
That was my story. I definitely wanted to be on Real World, but
I'm glad that I didn't get cast on that and did not, sign up for it and did not. Oh my God, because with my look, I would have got cast on that show and be trying to live down stuff years later. Nope.
That's true. But that's what they had, and then we had music videos, right? I mean, listen, I'll never forget when our dad got in his feelings once we started liking white boys. And he was like, and he kept pushing immature on me. Like, why can't you like the Black? I said, because they talking about some stuff that I ain't ready for, okay? They moving into a whole different ball game. I'm not in that ball game yet, okay? Even though I'm pretty sure now as adults, we like, if you love me, gotta be me. Okay, well maybe you were, but you saw set up a little bit different.
I blame Marsha.
I do. But I mean, I put it out there as in like what we can probably do is definitely encourage the good groups and accepting people for who they are. Now, I'm not saying everyone should be friends, because there's some people out here that we should not be friends with because
agree.
We
don't share the same values, right?
I'm about to say, so you weren't brought up with manners,
right? We might not share the same values. That's a whole different conversation.
I mean, you know what? Just another thought popped in my head because I read something. I'm not how true this is, but someone got kicked out their friend group because they were saving money. They were being frugal with their money, but they were looking good though. And they were saying that they pretty much, and this is a Black friends group, and they were all making the same amount of money. But because she valued having her car, whatever her first car was, her first Benz was, and it may not have been the newer model, and everyone else is pretty much keeping up with the Joneses. So I have the new this, new that, and and got me a new Gucci purse and all this stuff. And the other person's like, I'm getting this discounted. Like, I have a Gucci purse, but I'm gonna be outside.
The wholesaler.
I'm gonna go get mine from the wholesaler, and if that's Sheen, that's Sheen. And if my outfit's Sheen, as long as I match it right, what does it matter?
That's right.
And clearly they were mattering. So it was like, well, girl, that is the group that you don't need to be in because those are not your friends.
Right, because you don't have the same values though, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what I think is the thing we have to emphasize too. Like, I think a part of it is that stereotype. So I think, like you said, like letting people know it's okay to be friends with people who are like you, but also to emphasize it's about values and not necessarily about looks, right? Like, don't let the stereotype steer you away from people like you because you think you're like, what I think it is. And I was talking to my daughter about this is I was like, you think you're the only Black girl who's like this, that you like things that not traditionally liked by others.
And you're not. There's plenty of them that are out.
And I was like, that is false. And I can tell you because I grew up that way, right? Like I was a Black girl who liked wrestling. Didn't see too many of us out there. I didn't want to wear makeup. Didn't see too many of us out there. Wasn't boy crazy. Didn't see too many of us out there. But my friends, no comment. Anyway, over there. But my friends were all different, right? And that didn't bother me. It just meant that I wasn't like them. Mm-hmm. I appreciated having that variety level of friends. Now, my mom kept me pretty locked down, so I couldn't do nothing anyway. But I knew what the opportunities would be if I wanted to venture out in one of those other places. But I also allowed me to get to know different types of people and to appreciate them too. So I'm like, what I think is important is to really start to like make those stereotypes less important by actually bringing more reality to what you see and maybe building up more opportunities for them to meet other people like them. Like this has been on my mind a lot. Like, how do I encourage her to meet more people like her? Because even we did Girls on the Run, we did lots of stuff, but they still didn't necessarily like gel. And a part of that, I think, was also, again, like the competitive spirit. Like she was a bigger kid. She's happy. She's bouncy. She's a little like free with her hugs and her thoughts and her feelings. And she lights up. And that can turn some people off. Not many people, but some people, especially if that's not something you gel with. Mm-hmm. And I think that sense of like, I'm not going to gel with them kind of turned her off from seeing more opportunities. Because I was like, your mom's Black woman. You love me. We're not the same. Does that not count? Does that not count? Oh, there can't be other people like me or like you. I'm like, I meet different people all over the world who are different and look different. And I have friends of all different cultures. But I also think it's important specifically for Black women to be friends with other Black women, to build community with other Black women, because there are just certain things that you're going to experience and you're going to feel and you're going to interact with on a daily basis that's unique to your situation and your culture and the things we face that way. So I feel like certainly, for one, encouraging more interaction, but also I think like it's our responsibility at large to create media and art that don't necessarily perpetuate all the negative aspects either, right? Like, not all of us are conniving people. So
close to the camera, sorry. Had to back up.
Not all of us are, these materialistic type of people, or not all of us are captured as being promiscuous or too overly spiritual. Like, there is a realm of range on all of us as people. And I just think being able to showcase more of that is super important too. So I think maybe introducing them to, other people, other groups, creating some more groups where people can form community around things that they like, hobbies, interests. So they don't necessarily feel like my kids like anime. I do not, but they do. And their father loves it. He's also Black. He doesn't think so, but he is. And so there's a day like that I think is a unique possibility. Why are you laughing? Where if you were to ask
if you saw how you said it and how you said it, so you just say it regular, and it was one of those like, well, he doesn't.
It is very funny. I will tell. I mean, if you ask him, he'll tell you he's an Islander. That's his answer. I'm like, okay. He'll tell you he's Asian. I mean, he was born in the Philippines, so whether it was
Asian, his race is Black. Jeez, bro, brother-in-law, I had you, but you lost me.
That's why we leave him where he is. We leave him. Sure.
Wait, hold on. I have to say something. Don't you have an appointment?
I have a kid to pick up. Okay.
I know it was so good. We still got more to go.
We're still talking. Okay, with that, this is my reminder to you. We had a lot to cover, and clearly we have way more to cover. So this is just
I think next time we may add people in here and have a little bit more further conversation. I think.
Yes, I feel like this is just an intro conversation, and we're gonna have to invite some people in. I want to talk to some historians. I want to have like a deep-seated conversation about this. Like I feel like we touched on a lot.
Drink for that one. That sounds like that's going to be a deep conversation.
That is not going to be a midnight confessions. That is going to be a real daytime confession because I need you clear and sober during that conversation. So with that, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to hit that subscribe button. We covered a lot today, mostly all about a lot of things about sisterhood and building bonds of friendship among Black women and the challenges that we face and how some of them are contributed by art or history or culture. And it's not something obviously we're going to be able to unpack in a 30, 45-minute conversation, but it's something that I think is worth talking about, especially as we look into the future and our need and everybody's need for a community, because we don't know what's coming on a day-to-day basis and people need people. Okay. So not people only need people like them, but people need people like them too, because no one better understands your situation than people who are currently in the same boat or who are dealing with a lot of the same challenges you are. We want to remind you to hit the subscribe button on whatever channel you are listening to us on right now, whether that is YouTube, whether that is on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, it's on Threads too.
They can hear us. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio, Apple Music. You know, we're not on Apple Music. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Amazon Music, Amazon Audible, Pocket Podcasts, and Spotify. And you can also follow us individually on Instagram. I am Tanesha _MamaPod. Same thing for TikTok. That is Kiara MamaPod on Instagram and Facebook. And then on Twitter or X, she is Content Vixen.
I am.
With all her chocolateness. And don't forget to check us out on our website at www.maineventmamaspodcast.com, where you can also request to be a part of the show.
And we're checking email.
We do. We check our emails. Also requests, you can leave us a voice note. Stay respectful at all times. You can also check out the blog.
Yes.
My sister writes beautifully. Okay.
Thank you.
Beautifully. That's just what she does.
We have a brand new blog coming out. Can't wait to share you guys. We're counting down our favorite wrestling couples. So it's coming your way. Yeah, I was supposed to post it last week.
We did work on that. And then also we have a merch store. So if you definitely want some merch, some mama merch, please check us out. Help the cause. We both need it desperately. We don't need it desperately.
A great reminder about this Patreon button right here. So you can join our Patreon as a free member and get access to a lot of our benefits. But if you want to support the podcast, you can join as a paid member. Your subscriptions are as low as $3. It goes up to about $40. And if you want to be one of our Hall of Famers, our $40 members, you get mentioned on the show, like shout out to Candace. And you help us by purchasing an AEW pay-per-view, because if you want me to cover it, and it's usually me, let's just be honest, then I need y'all to pay for real. But I will cover it in full, and you'll get to hear all my thoughts on Hangman and Swerve and them and Moxley and Darby Allin. There's a lot to go through, and Mercedes and Chris Statlander, and all of that. I have a lot to talk about there.
Not her sound like an infomercial. So what we will say is, we are not
new to this.
We're so true to this. And this was Main Event Mamas. Wow.
Lay bell nice, but we're wide awake. Mama's bringing the heat. Talking life, love, and the wrestling beat.